So yeah, my name is George Conserve. I'm a student at Housatonic as well, and I'm also a basketball trainer here at Revolution. Um, so yeah.
First question that I have for you, George, is what was your experience in this career, such as when from start to finish? Like, what are some of the most key factors in this career?
I remember starting here shadowing another trainer.
Okay.
His name was Rashard. So he brought me in, showed me a little bit of the ropes, and from there I was able to learn a lot of how things work around at this facility. So I learned a lot. I learned from just the skill terms, the detail we use here for our training.
Okay.
And so from there, I just progressed on to like shadowing his sessions, and then I did like group classes. And then from there, I remember the owners, they gave me a chance to fully do their group classes for them. And that's where I started doing the job. Yeah, I think one of the highest experience here is just seeing people do well in their games and seeing people go from not being able to do something or feeling unconfident or feeling like there's something that is a weakness that turns into a strength. I think that's the biggest thing here. Like, it's all about finding your confidence. It's all about going up to new levels and going from something that you didn't feel comfortable at, and now you're able to do it and do it well, to where now everything's like kind of smooth and feel like you've accomplished something just by the training and really persevering through the hard part.
What would you define as success in this career?
So personally, I think success could look like a lot of different things for different trainers. Some see it as a certain number of clients. Some people could see it as a certain amount of money they make. For me, I just see it about helping my community. So I see it as making sure that everybody that comes into this gym and has an encounter with me leaves better than they came here. So I know that could be a little bit arbitrary, but for me, it's just all about quality. Regardless if I have 7, regardless if I have 15 or 30 clients, my goal is to make sure that each and every one are just progressing basketball-wise, but they're also progressing as people. They're progressing in their confidence. They're progressing with how they treat their brothers and sisters and how they treat their parents. So that's why I define as success, and that's what I see myself as, maybe trying to be a role model to these people so that they could keep finding the way to growth. Because growth is beyond basketball, right?
Yep.
So you could always improve in anything you do. So it's just finding the confidence and finding kind of the blueprint to how you could be better in everything you do.
So, what are some steps you would take to become a basketball trainer?
One thing I'd say is that being a basketball trainer is not something you could really learn through a university, or something that you could really pick up on YouTube, or it's not a skill that you could like all of a sudden pick up from somebody who's accredited or things of that nature. So a lot of it is just learning from other people, and learning from people who do it well or who are called sort of masters in the industry. So there's trainers out there like Michael Lancaster, to name a few, and there's Pure Sweat from Drew Hanlon, and there's other trainers like, let's say, Phil Handy, who host those certification events where they're able to teach a few of their techniques and the way they train. And I think doing not just one, but multiple of them will really equip you to be ready to train your own players and get started in the industry. So I think that's one of the things, really going out there, seeking out other trainers, seeking people who are really professionals within the industry, and then finding ways to get connected, but also learning from them and being sort of certified by them as well. So yeah, I've been certified by Michael Lancaster and his training program. I've been certified by Phil Handy in his training program. So that really helped me a lot. And as I keep going, I want to keep finding other certifications to do to make sure I'm as knowledgeable as I could be, and I'm coming with the best, most proven product for the people who come here.
Yeah, you could pass that down to your clients.
There you go.
So what was the hardest thing about becoming a trainer?
I'd definitely say one of the hardest things about the job is just scheduling. Sometimes, obviously, not every parent could be available on every day. And sometimes you have a lot of people you have to meet within a week. So one of the hardest things is just figuring out when to schedule clients, at what time, how you're going to group people into a session. Because knowing what to teach is, I think, for me, has been one of the easier parts. But knowing when I can schedule a client and who I could kind of group in, that's been a learning experience for me, definitely. I've been graced to not have to like look for a gym because I work here where the gym is provided for me. I don't have to kind of rent out other places, and that's not one of the troubles in my mind. Although I know that there's other trainers out there who that is their
I've talked to other
yeah
trainers.
that is
That problem.
their that is their problem, and that is their plight. So I think the beauty in it is I don't have to look for a gym. I have it provided for me, but I do also have to make sure I'm on top of parents, making sure I'm able to find a good time for them, and try to keep it as consistent as possible so they're not always shifted in different directions with the time and date.
Okay, now let me snowball into another question.
Yeah.
How hard was it to get clientele at first? Because unlike other jobs, where like 9 to 5, you go there, do your work.
Mhm.
You have to kind of like go out of your way sometimes to get clients here.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was too difficult. As right now, I do the group classes here. So we have 3 group classes a week, and from there, I'm able to see about somewhere between 10 to 15 kids for each class, which is 3. So yeah, by doing these classes, some kids have had a chance to get to know me, had the chance to know what my training style is and what I look like. So from there, I saw a lot of parents who were able to kind of buy on and sign in to to do the personal training. But from there, some of them I just went out to reach out and see like if I knew some kids, if I knew they were playing on a certain team, I would reach out to them, say, hey, would you like to do a free session? So I think once people know you, that's where it gets easy.
Yeah.
But the hard part is getting your name out there. So sometimes it look like, hey, can I do this free session for this kid who hasn't tried basketball yet, or for this kid who's new to basketball but is trying to find their way and things of that nature. So really about getting your name out there. And once people know you, people are able to trust in your training. The rest of it just carries itself.
Can we snowball into the next to the business side of it?
Mhm.
Like, could you say so you're on 10 to 15 clients a week? You said with the training, with the group sessions.
Yeah.
So how much clients would you say you need to be able to make a livable wage in this career?
Yeah, so that is very dependent on where you're training, who you're training with. I've been blessed to be able to work here at Revolution, where most of the business side is kind of carried for me. Mm-hmm. But I will say to work here, definitely, I'd say in the range of 30, I'd say upper 40 to 50 clients would be a range that you need to really be able to make this like a livable thing. But obviously a livable wage could be kind of subjective.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's different if you have to rent out spaces.
Yeah.
And for me, that's different because I don't have to rent out, but I do pay a portion to the owners. So yeah, it depends.
What are some good connections to make? Because I know you talked about how you were blessed to be here, how you got into the group sessions. Mm-hmm. So what are some good connections to have, and how did you make those connections?
I'd say definitely number one is to know coaches in the area from either school teams, the best school teams, the AAU teams around. Knowing the coaches here definitely helps a lot, because once you know the coaches, you know the teams, you start to know the players, and from there you start to know the parents, right? So I think it's about knowing coaches, knowing what kind of teams are around. I'd say number two, knowing what kind of community service. There's Boys and Girls Clubs, there's YMCAs. Getting really in touch with those places, knowing where you could find gyms is super important. Yep. And also just getting in touch with basketball players. So at the college level, high school level, the better you know basketball players, the easier this will be for you. Mm-hmm. So those are the connections that really put you on the top. And I'd say last, but also definitely not least, and one of the most important is knowing trainers. Knowing trainers so that you can collaborate, even if it's for a clinic or a camp, knowing different trainers who could kind of help you from their side of it, help you with the business side, help you with the basketball side and the teaching side. Knowing trainers is definitely going to help you, and also to be certified, to be more knowledgeable when you're coming into your sessions is definitely super important.
Okay, now my last question for you today is, why did you choose this career?
I chose this career because I loved basketball from a very young age, and I think that was always something that was fun for me. I really liked training. I liked skill training a lot, and that's something that I always wanted to carry on for the rest of my life. I think if I wasn't here, I would be at some kind of park trying to train on my skills and trying to learn and learn more. So I think I'm a lifelong student of basketball and a lifelong learner.
Student of the game.
Yeah, student of the game. I think that's it. That's my heart. And so I just wanted to start by sharing a few of the things that I've learned to certain kids who might need the help. And as I got into it, I saw that a lot of it is beyond basketball. There's a lot to learn about life in general, and
A lot of lessons in basketball translate to real life.
yeah, and I think there's a lot of metaphors that really cross and translate. So from that point on, I fell in love with it.
All right, thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course.